I like that. The only chat that I'm seeing right now is coming straight from Haps. Well, and we started out with an episode. We started out with a Twitch chat.
I know. That's
I
why I
don't get
thought it
it.
was weird. Because
Yeah,
then J7 didn't. J7 commented and I didn't see it.
yeah, because Kyle the Hag is on Twitch, so I don't know. Weird.
Yeah.
Um. So okay. So last episode they saw it today. Eternals looks interesting. I have not seen the trailer for the Eternals. Um. With in episode 3, it did get dark because Tarkin it decided to use Crosshair to he decided to test Crosshair to see if his advanced you know how they like fortified his chip to make him more compliant.
Yeah.
Well, they ended up sending him like Tarkin wanted to test to see how well that worked, so he sent him after Saul Guerrero's group. Now, when they got there,
Okay.
Saul was long gone, and this group was like the pack up crew that was supposed to like get everything ready and then send everybody later. But
Mm-hmm.
so it was only like it was like less than 10 people, right? And as they were trying to get everything together, so Crosshair was the leader of this like small group. He was given, I know in episode 2, remember he was given command of these humans that were like that were volunteers to join the army or to join the
Mm-hmm.
military, and Crosshair was put in charge of them. And they were like, why? The whole time they were very hostile. Like, especially this one dude who was like, why is a clone in charge? Humans should be in charge. Like the clone's not human. He's still human. He's just a clone. Um, and so Crosshair took it in stride, never really said anything, and he just pretty much said things like, good soldiers follow orders, that kind of thing. And
Mm-hmm.
and then they get there and they find out that Saw Gerrero's long gone, but they're there. Like those people are there. And so Crosshair orders them to kill those people and like basically torch the encampment. And the dude who was pissed off that a clone was in charge was like, absolutely not. I'm not going to follow that order. I'm not going to commit murder. These people, he didn't say necessarily these people did anything wrong, but like these aren't the people that we're here for, because he was under the impression that they were there to capture Saw, whereas the order was to eliminate not only Saw but his entire encampment. So because these people were helping and they were part of Saw's like rebel group, Crosshair's order was to eliminate that. So Crosshair told him to do it. He said no and tried to lead essentially a rebellion in the group and was like, "Come on, we're going back to our ship." The other soldiers were just kind of standing there. And at this point they're in stormtrooper armor, so you can't see the expressions on their faces. So they're just kind of standing there frozen, and the other dude turns around and goes back, and Crosshair shoots him and kills him. And then Crosshair says, "Take them all out," and all of them do. And then afterwards,
Damn.
Crosshair is like, "That's why the clone was put in charge, because good
Mm-hmm.
soldiers follow orders, and you guys don't have the sentiment to get the job done." And I was like, "Damn!" Like that was crazy. Um,
Yeah. A shout
One day
out
I may watch the
to
extra Star Wars side shit. One day, however, I kind of
yeah.
get all I need to know from Jackie. Thanks, Ace.
True story. There's a shout out to J7 Politics, Rocky, and Leroy who are over on Twitch. Shout out to you
Why can I
guys.
not see them? Why?
I don't
What's
know.
happening?
I had to Twitch up. I had to Twitch up on my phone. That way I can see their comments.
Well, why isn't it coming
Yeah.
through? What's going on?
I don't know.
No
It's,
bueno. I want to see the comments. Hey, James is watching. Thanks, JB. Okay, why am I not? I don't like it. I don't like it. Hang on. I'm going to try to reset the. Nope, that wouldn't work. That wouldn't fix it. Oh, well. I don't know what's going on. Um, Ace thinks that Hubs probably accidentally did something during their latest reprogramming. But here's what doesn't make sense. Like, one of the first comments that we saw came from Twitch. But then since then,
yeah,
I
it's just
haven't
like it
gotten a
kind of does.
single comment.
Yeah, it's just like it just stopped working. Hey
Yeah.
Jay. JB.
Hey, JB, thanks. Okay, I did the same thing to you the other day. Got one or two, then nothing. Yeah, weird. Okay, so at least Meg is keeping up with it. So Meg,
Yep.
keep letting us know the comments. I appreciate it. And is there anything else you
Yes.
want to discuss before we jump into the one of the greatest movies?
No, I think we're good. I mean, oh yeah, JB, that's right. Please like, share, and subscribe. Yes.
Indeed.
Absolutely. But no, I think we're ready for Infinity War.
You ready?
Let's do
Okay.
it.
So we're gonna do. This is like pretty early. 21 minutes. That's like the fastest we've ever gotten to the actual movie we're gonna talk about.
That's because I'm a bad nerd and I didn't watch Bad Batch.
It is. It's all your fault.
It
Okay.
is all my fault. You
All
you
right.
do not get side rants today because it's my fault.
Okay, okay. Yet again, thank you to Movies in Minutes. Not that they know anything about this or doing anything intentionally, but I'm using your channel because thank you. We're gonna get the little quick deal with Movies in Minutes. We're gonna show their video recapping Avengers Infinity Wars so that everybody is all on the same page. And here we go.
Thanos and his followers intercept a spaceship carrying the last survivors of Asgard. As they extract the Space Stone from the Tesseract, Thanos subdues Thor, overpowers Hulk, and kills Loki. Heimdall sends Hulk to Earth using the Bifrost before being killed. Thanos departs with his lieutenants and obliterates the ship. Hulk crash lands at the Sanctum Sanctorum in New York City, reverting to Bruce Banner. He warns Stephen Strange and Wong about Thanos' plan to kill half of all life in the universe. In response, Strange recruits Tony Stark. Thanos' followers Ebony Maw and Call Obsidian arrive to retrieve the Time Stone from Strange, drawing the attention of Peter Parker. Maw captures Strange but fails to take the Time Stone due to an enchantment. Stark and Parker pursue Maw's spaceship. Banner contacts Steve Rogers, and Wong stays behind to guard the Sanctum. In Edinburgh, Scotland, two of Thanos' other followers, Proxima Midnight and Corvus Glaive, ambush Wanda Maximoff and Vision in order to retrieve the Mind Stone in Vision's forehead. Rogers, Natasha Romanoff, and Sam Wilson rescue them and take shelter with James Rhodes and Banner at the Avengers compound. Vision offers to sacrifice himself by having Maximoff destroy the Mind Stone to keep Thanos from retrieving it. Rogers suggests they travel to Wakanda, which he believes has the resources to remove the stone without destroying Vision. The Guardians of the Galaxy respond to a distress call from the Asgardian ship and rescue Thor, who surmises Thanos seeks the Reality Stone, which is in the possession of the Collector on Nowhere. Rocket and Groot accompany Thor to Nidavellir, where they and Eitri create a battle axe capable of killing Thanos. On Nowhere, Peter Quill, Gamora, Drax, and Mantis find Thanos with the Reality Stone already in his possession. Thanos kidnaps Gamora, his adoptive daughter, who reveals the location of the Soul Stone to save her captive adoptive sister Nebula from torture. Thanos and Gamora travel to Vormir, where Red Skull, keeper of the Soul Stone, informs him the stone can only be retrieved by sacrificing someone he loves. Thanos reluctantly kills Gamora, earning the stone. Nebula escapes captivity and asks the remaining Guardians to meet her on Thanos' destroyed home world, Titan. Stark and Parker kill Maw and rescue Strange. Landing on Titan, they meet Quill, Drax, and Mantis. The group forms a plan to remove Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet after Strange uses the Time Stone to view millions of possible futures, seeing only one in which Thanos loses. Thanos arrives, justifying his plans as necessary to ensure the survival of a universe threatened by overpopulation. The group subdues him until Nebula deduces that Thanos has killed Gamora. Enraged, Quill attacks him, allowing Thanos to break the group's hold and overpower them. Stark is seriously wounded by Thanos, but is spared after Strange surrenders the Time Stone to Thanos. In Wakanda, Rogers reunites with Bucky Barnes before Thanos' army invades. The Avengers, alongside T'Challa and the Wakandan forces, mount a defense while Shuri works to extract the Mind Stone from Vision. Banner, unable to transform into the Hulk, fights in Stark's Hulkbuster armor. Thor, Rocket, and Groot arrive to reinforce the Avengers. Midnight, Obsidian, and Glaive are killed and their army is destroyed. Thanos arrives, and despite Maximoff's attempt to destroy the Mind Stone, removes it from Vision's head, killing him. Thor severely wounds Thanos, but Thanos activates the completed Infinity Gauntlet by snapping his fingers and teleports away. Half of all life across the universe disintegrates, including Bucky Barnes, T'Challa, Groot, Maximoff, Wilson, Mantis, Drax, Quill, Strange, and Parker. Stark and Nebula remain on Titan, while Banner, M'Baku, Okoye, Rhodes, Rocket, Rogers, Romanov, and Thor are left on the Wakandan battlefield. Meanwhile, Thanos watches the sunrise on another planet. In a post-credits scene, Maria Hill and Nick Fury also disintegrate, though Nick Fury is able to transmit a signal.
Yay!
Woot woot.
And that is Infinity War in 4 minutes. And they do such a great job because all of the points, every major point is in that 4 minutes. So that's awesome. Thank you, Movies in Minutes. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
I'm going to be all over the place with
giving
this.
us a copyright thing or something.
What?
It's like it's always good that we don't get copywritten for that.
Hopefully we don't get a copyright strike, but I'm kind of the queen of getting them because my other channel, Cinematic Adventures, like every single video is copyright strike, has a copyright strike, so I'm really good at it.
You know, just which buttons to push.
Yeah, all of them. So I'm gonna need you to take the lead on these two because I'm gonna turn into like Jello because Infinity War is cool, but I know that it leads up to. Here's the thing: when I watch Infinity War and then I see Wanda and Vision, all I think is WandaVision, and then I'm like, and then like Endgame is just like, so yeah, you might need to take the lead on these.
Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, because this is definitely the movie that leads right into WandaVision. It's going to go there. Because how many times can you watch the person that you love die before it literally drives you insane? But yeah, so Infinity War. On our road to Falcon and Winter Soldier, and now our road to WandaVision.
WandaVision.
Like
Dual
there's
stops.
Yeah,
First stop, Falcon Winter Soldier. Next stop, WandaVision.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of Falcon in this movie. However, you know, it is pivotal what happens, and we can just run quickly roll back in time to Civil War for like 2 seconds, because in Civil War, you know, Falcon, like Captain America and Falcon and their team, they are all now on the run because Captain America broke them out of the raft after breaking the Sokovia Accords. So they're all on the run, and so he's off with Cap, and they're doing their thing, trying to avoid getting arrested. And Wanda is also kind of part of that squad, but she and Vision are kind of sneaking off on these little rendezvous, and they end up together in Scotland. And they're getting ready
just
to
ended me, by the way, with his
What?
comment. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off, but JB straight up ended me.
Oh my God, JB, why would you do this?
He said if we said goodbye before, then it stands to
Why do you
reason
have to do this?
we can say hello again, which is straight from WandaVision, and that's the reason why I had to turn it over to you, because I'm gonna be just a mess. And then JB was like, "There you go." I just
Right. What was the other one? It was grief is like love. I can't remember the exact quote.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact quote, but it was he said something about like grief is like grief lets you know that you loved them or something. I don't remember.
Something like that. Yeah, but like that also, I was like, oh my God.
Yep.
I totally just grabbed my cord by accident. But yeah, so we are now on the road to all those waterworks because we're finally really kind of seeing the whole Wanda and Vision dynamic. You saw that a little bit in Civil War, but not enough to really be like, oh yeah, they're a couple. Here you get to see them full couple mode. And it's they're actually a lovely couple, and I'm so glad that we got to see more of that in WandaVision, because I don't think we got enough of it. Like, please
I feel
stop
like it
punching.
was like there's like a crescendo, right? They were building to it. So
Mhm.
you start out with like, huh, they are quite fond of each other.
Mhm.
Like, actually, the very first time is when we first get a glimpse in Age of Ultron, a movie that we skipped because fuck it. I'm memory made real. What the hell, JB? Why are you attacking me today? What the hell, man? What did I do to you? He's look. I'm not an emotional person, and he's just like, you will
Oh
be get it.
yes.
Ah,
Yeah, Leroy had it. But what is grief if not love persevering? Like, oh,
how come I can't see
wreck
Leroy? I
me.
can't see the
Because
comments.
he's on Twitch. He's on Twitch.
Damn it.
So that's gonna wreck me just a little bit. But so
Yes.
back to Infinity War for a hot minute. But yeah, so they're in Scotland having their rendezvous, and all of a sudden Vision is kind of feeling something in the Force to kind of cross streams a little bit. He's feeling something because the connection between him and the Mind Stone, and like kind of sensing that something is about to happen, and
And
like
then she
all
tries
that,
to feel it, and she can just feel it.
all I feel is you.
I can just feel you.
Oh my god, you're worse than I am.
Oh, I know. As soon as I saw that, I was like, no, it was devastating because she's just like, I just feel you. And then I get instant flashback to, I can't feel you. And I'm just like,
Oh my god, yes.
it ruined. Just ripped my heart out.
Yeah, it's so crazy now because we know what's going to come later. So rewatching is like, oh my god,
Yep.
callback!
Yep.
It's a callback.
Yeah. So somehow I have this weird thing when I watch movies that I love, right?
Mhm.
Especially like Marvel movies. For some reason, I can watch them both as if I've never seen it before and be fully aware of what is about to happen. You know what I mean? Like when I
Yeah.
watch oh god damn. Why is everybody attacking me today? Okay. You just what is grief if not love persevering? Thank you, Sonia, for just trying to rip out my heart and stomp on it. I'm not sure I can get through Endgame next week. I don't know if it's possible. Um,
I know.
so yeah, when I watched it again today, and I didn't watch it because I was like, oh, we're gonna talk about Infinity War. I need to watch it again. Because trust me, I've seen it enough times. I was just like, we're gonna talk about Infinity War. Okay, I'm gonna watch Infinity War. Like basically, it's like, hey, do you want to watch a Marvel movie? And I was like, I mean, I could be doing 1,000 other things, but yes.
Mhm.
So that's what happened. As I'm rewatching it, she again, I have this weird thing where like I've seen it and I know what's coming and I know what happens in WandaVision, but I can also watch it like I've never seen it before. So like as I'm watching it, when she's talking to him in this scene, I'm like the moment when Corvus Glaive hits him, I'm like, ah, like I've never seen it before,
Mhm.
and I'm like freaking out, and I'm like, where did that come from? And I'm like losing my shit. But at the same time, I'm freaking out because she was just like, all I feel is you. And I'm like, no. And then I immediately recover from that. And then the knife that I know is coming comes into him. And I'm like, oh. And I like lose my shit like I've never
Right.
seen it before. And then I'm like, when he's like, it stopped me from phasing, I'm like, he can't phase. Like it's new information. Like I've never seen it.
Mhm.
I'm weird, is what I'm saying. So anyway, do continue. See, this is why I can't lead today. So continue, please.
Yeah, JB totally feels you. But yeah, so exactly what you just said. Corvus Glaive attacks them. Now they're fighting. Him and Proxima Midnight, and like I think this is one of the times where we really see what an equal and egalitarian couple they are, considering Wanda is doing her very best to protect him, but they're fighting as equals, not just like, oh, I'm gonna protect you, Wanda. You're the damsel in distress, which so often happens. It's like quick callback to one of my favorite childhood movies of Power Rangers. In that,
I was not prepared for you to say Power.
yes, I am
Sorry.
calling back to Power Rangers because in that movie, like even though you would think that the White Ranger Tommy and the Pink Ranger Kimberly would be equals, Kimberly is constantly a damsel in distress, constantly, and Tommy is constantly having to save her. Here, that is not the case. Yes, Ace, I said Power Rangers. That just shows my age. Fine, if you want to cancel me for watching Power Rangers, that's cool. I don't care. But that just
No,
shows
you
like
were already
how
canceled for not
far.
watching the last 2 episodes of The Bad Batch. So you can't
That's
cancel
true.
her again. You
But
can only be canceled once a show,
yes,
unless you're
that
Nick.
is
He has a
that is
special
now the
ability.
official rule.
Yeah.
Yes, that is the Nick rule that Nick can be canceled more than once.
Yes.
So,
Everyone else, you have to
but
pick your
at least
reason.
yeah, but that just shows how far that we've really come because Vision and Wanda are such a good match. They're equal, they're partners, and they fight alongside one another. They protect each other. It's not just one, especially the man protecting the woman. Wanda is she's trying to protect her man. They're trying to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing that I love about this scene. But they're very equal. But then you have this equally powerful pair of Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight fighting back, and just when you know it, here comes Cap and Scarlet Witch and the team to save their buddies.
Okay. Yeah, you see like the train,
Damn
and
right,
you're like,
JB.
what is that? And then he comes through.
Damn right, JB. Lord Zed is a good villain.
You see, you see the train go by, and I love how everybody stops. Like you see the train, and like, why would the train make them stop? But it's not the train. They're looking past the train. There's somebody on the other side of that train, and you see the shadow, and you're like, oh, it's him, it's him, it's him. And then Proxima's like, fuck that dude, and throws the thing, and he just catches it. But he doesn't just catch it. He doesn't catch it left-handed. It goes to the left side. He does this right-handed grab, and that's just fucking awesome. Okay, go ahead. I'm basically just gonna nerd out as you talk about it. So go ahead.
No, the thing that I love about your reaction to that too is because there's only 2 events like that in either Infinity War or Endgame. One is that one where they're just kind of like, what's on the other side of the train? The other one is, what are they all aiming at? And we find out it's Captain Marvel.
It's Captain Marvel! 2 captains. You got Captain America and Captain Marvel.
Yeah, and they both get that kind of epic, they kind of get that epic moment of, who's on, what are they doing? Why are we all looking that way? Why are they all aiming in that direction? Yep. Because the Cap is here.
And both times it's some serious shit because you don't stop fighting someone and like focus on something else unless you think that something else is a greater threat than who you're fighting.
Exactly.
And that's why it was so like terrifying in Endgame because it was like, because they were raining fire. It was like everybody's about to die, and all of a sudden it all stopped, and you're like, okay, this is creepy because they were in the process of eliminating us, and they just stopped. Who's deadlier than all of us on this field right now? It's like, what's going on?
Exactly.
So yeah, Cap is here! Yay! And then speaking of feminism, okay, I need to calm down. Be calm, Jackie. It's just a movie. But anyway, Black Widow beats Proxima's ass, and she takes out Corvus Glaive herself. She comes in and I love it because again, like you were saying, like with the couple, this is war. Okay, I have a gripe about Endgame, and I'll mention it later. But just bookmark this because it's going to come back in that discussion. So when Cap and Nat fight, they are even as well. And I love when the Russo brothers do Black Widow because they put her on equal footing with Captain America, which she should be because in the comics she is. So I'm just saying thank you to the Russo brothers for making her an equal partner. Because what happens is Cap starts fighting, and he's got the stick thing, that the staff that Proxima threw, and it's the one that
Mhm.
Corvus Glaive actually used to stab Vision. And but Proxima had it, and she threw it. Actually, no, it's a different one, because that one has like a spear at the end, but the one that
Mhm.
Proxima uses is more like a weapon, like more like a laser or something, because it's got the
Yeah.
prongs at the end. Well, anyway, because she can like shoot with it, and that's the one that Cap caught, and then Black Widow jumps in with her batons. Clearly, the batons are not doing the job. So all of a sudden, you see her just reach up and grab, because Cap threw that baton. He
Mhm.
threw that weapon towards her. She just grabs it and starts just whooping Proxima's ass. And I was like, yes. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
But yeah, feminism, equal fighting. That's what feminism looks like. You know what feminism doesn't look like? We're going to go back to Star Wars for a second. Feminism does not
Mhm.
look like I'm overpowered and I can do everything. We're going to talk about Carol
Mhm.
Danvers later, so just put a pin in it. Because I know people are like, it's Captain Marvel. Chill the fuck out. You can get there. But that's feminism, when characters are
Mhm.
equal to men. They don't have to be
Mhm.
greater than or the best ever. They just have to be equal. Okay, go ahead. I'm done.
Right. And that's honestly one of my biggest gripes with like particularly things like Supergirl. That's why I don't watch Supergirl anymore because it started getting annoying.
Hmm.
But absolutely, it's like there's an egalitarianness to it. It's people on an equal playing field, and not one person is great. Exactly what you said is greater than the other. Like they're all kind of okay. We like I see you. Like I see what you're doing, and you can. I understand that you can meet me tit for tat. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is not going to be an easy fight. Or like I understand your strengths. Like our strengths might be different. Like you might have more, especially with Cap being a super soldier, or Vision having the power to phase and all those different things, or having like the laser that comes out of his head. But Scarlet Witch has like that bitch is powerful. She almost
Mm-hmm.
killed Thanos on her own,
Mm-hmm. And she hadn't realized her powers yet.
right?
I
Like
love.
she
She
is
kind of took her
powerful
time though,
as
because I love
fuck.
how like when she gets to him, she's just like think, think. She's like slowly taking his
Mhm.
armor away, and he was like, "This bitch is about to
Mhm.
end me." Rain fire.
Fire!
But that will kill all of
Yeah,
us. I don't care. I'm about to die. We all go.
exactly. If I'm going down, you're going down with me.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Um.
we will talk more about Wanda later on, and like Okoye was right. Like, what the hell wasn't she doing on the field the whole time? Like, we
Yes.
know why, but because she was trying to protect her man. But yeah. So Cap and Scarlet Witch show up, or I just did it. Black
Black Widow.
Captain America and Black Widow show up. So many colors, and they rescue Vision and Wanda. They fly off. They go to Wakanda, and do we want to go into the Iron Man in all that storyline, or are we just kind of sticking with Wanda and Sam for now?
Well, we can talk about the whole thing, because if we just talk about Wanda, Sam, Buck, and Steve, this will be like 20 minutes, because they weren't the focus of the movie. Like the focus of the movie was you have like dual. We have three focuses. Yeah, you have
Mm-hmm.
three main focuses of the movie. You've got Thor, the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then Iron Man. Those were your three
Mm-hmm.
main characters essentially. Thor had the most personal growth, I guess you could say, or the most personal
Mm-hmm.
storyline, or most character growth. That's what I was looking for. But in Tony, like throughout the MCU, he has this dance where it's like he learns a little, but then he pulls it back. Like he grows and then he pulls it
Mm-hmm.
back, and then like every movie, like every by the end of the movie, he's learned something. He's grown. He's a better character, and then the next movie, that's been pulled back, and he's doing it all over again. Like he doesn't really grow that much.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Anthony Davis, for your subscription. That is awesome. We appreciate it.
Woo!
Um, Natasha making the sacrifice for the Soul Stone was an example of a strong ass woman. Yes, it was. Is
Yeah,
Steve
and we can
really
definitely talk
really
about
called
that.
Secret
Yeah,
Avengers? Kind of.
yeah, yeah. We can definitely talk about that more when we talk about Endgame next week. But yeah, I definitely agree, and because there's a lot of controversy about that moment, and that actually goes back to what we see happen to Gamora. This, and we can even compare and contrast those two moments of what happens to Gamora versus what happens to Natasha, because they're for very different reasons, and
Yes.
one is much more of a fridging than the other one was. Considering, let's be real, Gamora died to progress Thanos' storyline, so she was absolutely fridged.
Yeah, Gamora
So,
was
for those of you who
straight
don't know what
sacrifice.
fridging is, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, Gamora was used as a sacrifice. Gamora did not sacrifice. There's a difference.
Exactly.
So the sacrifice
Exactly.
in Infinity War, the sacrifice to get the Soul Stone was
Hmm.
Thanos' sacrifice. He sacrificed Gamora. Whereas in
Hmm.
Endgame, the sacrifice was Nat giving up her life in order to save everyone else.
Hmm.
So it was a personal
Exactly.
sacrifice, and then her friend was left to get the stone.
Hmm.
Um, Anywho, yes. So I'm glad that you're internet connected and you don't look pixelated anymore. Because for a while there, you could hear
Yes,
you
and
fine, but you were all pixelated.
yeah, so I don't remember who made the suggestion last week, but I actually did what they suggested, and I restarted my router right before I came on. So thank you for that suggestion. Seems to be working.
It was AC Facey, aka Cinnamon
Yes.
Sorceress. Fun fact: she got her
Hey.
nickname Cinnamon Sorceress from WandaVision because there's Scarlet Witch, and I'm
Hmm.
like, well, you're not red, you're
Hmm.
more brown, so cinnamon is brown. That works. And you're not a witch. How about a sorceress? So I came up with Cinnamon Sorceress, and
I
there you
dig
go.
it.
Yeah, and she's
I
being
dig
very
it.
hostile in the comments. That's just not nice. So anywho, okay, so now I decided to do Twitch on my phone as well, and now my freaking phone is just like it paused, and I'm like, what the shit, man? Okay, so anyway, go ahead. We were at
So yeah,
we were at Steve decides to go to Wakanda.
yeah.
So no.
So a
Steve
few.
doesn't decide to go to Wakanda yet. Steve has just
Mhm.
saved Wanda and Vision, and right now they're
Mhm.
headed to New York, where Tony no longer is because he and a little
Mhm.
spiderling are on a spaceship heading to
Yeah.
outer space.
So a few comments from Twitch. So Leroy says the feels is real in these streets. It is. J7 politics. Vision was the damsel here. Sorry, not sorry. Vision was a little bit more the damsel. You're correct.
I
Let's
don't
see.
have the comments.
Yeah.
Damn the luck. Not like I'm on that and I don't see I saw 3 comments and now it's just like, nope, you don't get any more. Twitch hates me is the thing. Twitch is
Mhm.
like, fuck you in your comments, you don't get them. So yeah, I guess we'll just have to stick with you reading them because even when I tried to cheat and see it for myself, Twitch was like, no bitch, negative.
Is then Leroy again should have went. Yeah. If they yeah they I guess if they wanted to kill Vision, they should have gone for the head. Just like Thor should have gone for the head with our not good friend Thanos. Yeah. Jason politics again must be that character that is OP and need a plot to keep them away. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a movie.
Are you talking about
Um.
Captain Marvel? What movie are you talking about?
Oh yeah, I
What?
guess I. It must be that character that is OP. I guess I mean must be overpowered maybe, and needs a plot to keep them away. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a movie.
Thank you for escaping the Twitch void, pal.
And a good
I can
question
see your comment
is
because you're
Steve's
not on
group
Twitch.
officially is Steve's group officially called Secret Avengers? No, I don't think it's called Secret Avengers. I think
Well,
that's a
in the
completely different
comics,
team.
that was the name of his.
Hmm.
That in the comics, Steve led the Secret Avengers
Hmm.
after, like during the whole the superhero registration act thing,
Hmm.
because he split from the official Avengers, so they went underground, and Black Widow was on that team, and it was essentially like this group, and just like this, their colors were muted. Like he wore the blue suit that looks all sexy, and it was this group. So that's why they're the Secret Avengers.
Hmm.
But in the MCU, nobody ever actually says Secret Avengers, so it kind of is
Hmm.
without being, it's like a nod to the Secret
Yeah,
Avengers, but nobody says Secret Avengers. Just like technically
yeah,
right now, Wanda Maximoff is not Scarlet Witch. She doesn't get
exactly.
Scarlet Witch
We all
the
know
Scarlet
she
Witch
is
label until later.
until WandaVision.
Yeah, until WandaVision.
Yeah.
Right. So yes, it was Secret
Oh, boot
Avengers,
to the
but was it
head.
officially Secret Avengers? No.
Welcome, boot to the head. Welcome to the stream.
I'm missing
Sorry.
out. Everybody gets to talk and I don't get to see it. This just blows. Get your shit together, Haps. I want to see the comments.
Hey, Jackie can't see the Twitch comments, guys. Just FYI.
And not only can I not see them here, but I actually pulled it up on my phone, and Twitch gave me like 3 comments and was like, fuck you. What did I ever do to you, Twitch? Streaming gods are frowning upon us.
It's all good. We'll figure it out.
All right.
It will all be figured out. But yeah, so back on the storyline. So they just got picked up, and so now I believe, if I'm correct, I don't know if it goes to the Guardians of the Galaxy storyline or if it
Yep.
goes to Tony's storyline.
It goes to Guardians because you hear that cool ass music and you're like, "Oh, James Gunn's in the house!" Because we get the Rubber Band Man.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, so yes, we get Guardians of the Galaxy. They save Thor because Thor, like, they're going to Thor's ship to be like, oh, help people, like, for a price. And like everything's gone, and all of a sudden there's a bug on the windshield, and that bug is Thor. So they let Thor in. He wakes up, and everyone's just kind of like, wow, what a gorgeous man. He's just like, this gorgeous man was just floating around in outer space. Like, look at his arms. Look at this. And of course, the whole like dick measuring contest between Thor and Star-Lord, which is just kind of hilarious considering Thor wins that, just so we all know.
Okay, so
Like-
there's 2
like
things.
poll. Thor, Star-Lord. Put it in the comments. Thor, Star-Lord. Who are you going to go with? Thor. Let's just wait. Oh, Loki. What about Loki?
You said to put it in the comments. I put it in the comments. Oh, I love JB's response. I am Groot.
Well, we have to say it correctly as he would in this movie. I am Groot. Because he's
Yeah.
a teenager now.
He's a teenager. Sorry. Yes.
He's a teenager now, so we must act. He's going to act like a teenager. Like, Groot, go to bed. You need sleep, man. Like, oh! Like, he's saying some dirty words. We can't tell, but Thor, easy. Voice and all. Thor, yeah.
Okay, that was weird. So this is the weird
What?
stuff that just happened. I'm watching the chat, right? And I see like 4 responses. Out of nowhere,
Mhm.
in the middle of the responses, JB Font's response pops up. So I see, like, originally I saw Thor, Loki, I am Groot, Ace staying dead, voice and all, Thor easy, and then out of nowhere the comments part like the Red Sea, and JB Font's comment pops up in the middle saying Thor, and then Sonia says Thor, I agree, Thor, and Kyle says Thor easy. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. You know what that reminds me of? There's this TikTok where this guy, he's a really good looking guy, and he's like,
Mhm.
he's like, tell me you're single without telling me you're single. And then he goes, I'll start. And everybody cuts him off. And the funniest thing is, it's always men, right? It is straight men that cut him off and are like, what the hell? And they're like, tell me you're a god without telling me you're a god. And they go on and on about how cute. Like, he's not even cute. He's just gorgeous. And they're like, his eyes, his beard, he's got like a glow behind him. And they're like, you look like an angel. And they were like, there's no hope for people like me. And then one guy was like, I'm just like, how are you single? If you're single, then this is because of your own choosing. Because I'm about to inform my wife, my girlfriend, and my side piece that I'm leaving them for you. And he's like, and I'm straight. It was awesome. And that reminds me of like Star-Lord versus Thor. It's hilarious. Anywho. Yeah. Yeah, see,
I want to read this
I
other
choose it to
comment.
her. I make her watch these all the time.
Yeah, Anthony Davis said, Darcy Lewis, I love Darcy, she's a fantastic character, is an extremely undervalued character in the Marvel Comics universe. When she comes on the Thor movies in WandaVision, they portray her as a strong and independent woman, hell yeah. But then they kind of abandon her until they need her. They did it in Thor and they did it in WandaVision. That's true. She's definitely not in the MCU enough.
Yeah, so there's a reason why
that.
she was abandoned in WandaVision.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same reason why we only got 9 episodes instead of 10. She actually did have more to do, but they cut it out. They, like, if you notice, the ending kind of the rabbit, damn it. Yes, AC Facey. They also cut out the rabbit. The rabbit actually was like a demon, and it was gonna like come up and like haunt them and shit, and there was a whole thing. But they cut out an entire episode, and there was also more to Ralph Boner. And there was more to Monica Rambeau. All of that got cut for the sake of timing and to get it out, and mainly because there were parts that they couldn't finish due to COVID. So they were like, okay, we'll just take out the parts that are incomplete and we'll just stitch this together. So that's why the end seemed a little like, if you notice, she was talking with Vision in the beginning of the last episode, and then you don't see her at all until the end, and she takes him out, and then you don't see her again. Like, there's no like epilogue of what happened to Darcy. But she had more to do and explained how she got there and explained what she did after that, but that whole part had to be taken out. So, what time are you guys talking Army of the Dead? Love the show. I haven't seen Army of the Dead, Ted.
I definitely I want to watch that. Yeah.
We'll probably talk about it.
Yeah. I love Zack Snyder, but I'm not big on zombie movies. Like, that's my only... I'm not huge on zombie movies.
I'm okay with zombie movies. I'm okay with Zack Snyder. I don't love him. I don't hate him. He's not a terrible director. To me, he's more a really great cinematographer.
I feel the exact same way about Zack Snyder. He... Like, cinematography is his thing. He's a visual storyteller. If he just did cinematography and worked with other directors, I feel like Oscar, here you go.
Yeah, exactly.
I love this one. I have to say it. J7 Politics. Star-Lord is a dude. Thor is a man. Choose your third crap.
From Drax. Yeah, that's what Drax said in Infinity War.
Thor is a man.
Ace. Sometimes a little too visual by 3 unnecessary hours. #life wasted. To be fair, it was only 1.5 unnecessary hours because it was it was a 4-hour. Yeah, the Snyder cut was 4 hours, so 2 unnecessary hours.
Yeah, that is true. Zack is an acquired taste, but he does need he needs a good editor. Is the thing with Zack. He needs to have an editor who is willing to say, okay, you don't actually need this. Let's
you don't need
cut
5-minute slow pan on a cup. People can see the cup. They know the cup's there. You don't need the cup. Has nothing to do with the plot. We can get rid of the cup. Like shit like that. Yeah, just cut that out.
Or the singing. Like, you don't need all that singing.
I want to
Like,
see a really well edited version of the Snyder
mhm.
cut to make it like
That
a
would be
normal
nice.
length movie without all the slow burns and slow pans and all the bullshit.
Mhm.
Also, cut out
But the
all the
couples,
Martian Manhunter part because it makes no fucking sense. It
it
actually makes
doesn't
the movie worse.
exactly like how exactly is like what would happen if Lois decided to have a conversation with Martha later on, like, thank you for coming to see me that day. It was such a nice talk, and she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I wasn't there. How did he know all that? Like, I know he reads minds, but was he just like stalking Martha Kent?
That I think
Like,
can
it
be
made no
explained by
sense.
he reads minds, and
Hmm.
yeah, because remember he technically was introduced back in Man of Steel.
Hmm.
So he knows these main characters. And remember, as a Martian, he's going to be paying attention to who's around Clark Kent, including Lois Lane, because he actually met
Hmm.
Lois in Man of Steel. So it
Yeah.
makes sense that he would be able to like infiltrate that situation. What doesn't make sense is that he was around in Man of Steel and did not go to help Kal-El, because Martian
Right.
Manhunter would have helped him.
Hmm.
And instead he was just chilling like the Eternals. I can't wait to hear what their explanation is of like, you got this, right? Like I
Hmm.
can understand why they didn't help in Civil War. Why didn't they help in
Yeah.
Avengers? Why didn't like I can also understand
Hmm.
why they didn't help in Age of Ultron, because Age of Ultron was like a very quick thing where even the Avengers were there to fight Ultron and did not know what his plan was. They didn't understand until it was happening, and they just had like a matter of hours to fight it. So
Hmm.
if Eternals weren't actually in Sokovia, I can get why they didn't show up for Age of Ultron. Please explain to me why they did not
Yeah.
try to stop the Chitauri. They could have personally stopped the Chitauri by themselves. And then
Hmm.
also explain why when Thanos got here, they were like, nah, you're good. That's our little brother. Little brother. Because he's half eternal. So with the power Thanos
Hmm.
has, they wield more because they are full Eternals. So, dude, please explain to me why they didn't come get the boy. Half a life goes
Right.
out, and they were like, maybe we should have done
Right.
something,
And
but we
that's one
didn't.
thing
So
that
we'll
they,
continue not
yeah.
doing it. Like what?
Yeah, and that's something
Like
that I do address very briefly in the trailer, where like we haven't interfered in on Earth until now. It's like, what exactly is going to be so big that they'll interfere now instead of when Thanos wiped out half the universe?
right, you don't get bigger than Infinity War. So
Hmm.
where were you bitches? And here's the thing: with again, I can see why they weren't there for Age of Ultron because that happened like that. Because like they literally would have had to have been in Sokovia to be able to stop it, or to at least know what was
Hmm.
going on. But they could have pulled a Wonder Woman thing from Batman v Superman, where she was getting on a plane and she's like, "Oh, shit's going down. I'll be there in 10 minutes." They could have done that, but no, whatever. Okay, so I'll give them a pass on Ultron. Not getting a pass on the Chitari because like the news was broadcasting worldwide, aliens, aliens, and I guess like the only pass that I guess conceivable for Avengers is the fact that the Chitari are a hive mind and they're so simple that like other because remember even Rocket in was it Infinity War or Endgame? I think it was an Endgame. Rocket was like, "You guys didn't know how to take out the Chitari? Like that's the easiest thing." So maybe they thought the Chitari were like beneath them, like humans can handle that. That's not that big a deal. So okay,
Hmm.
but then you also saw like they were getting their asses handed to them. So and also you saw the Chitari were being aided by they were being aided by Loki, who is not only an Asgardian, so far more powerful than these humans, but also there are Infinity Stones involved, two, as a matter of fact. And these Eternals know that. They would have known that there were two
Hmm.
Stones involved in this battle. So they weren't like, yo, like, fuck the humans. We got to make sure that, like, Thanos doesn't get this. Again, they now know of Thanos' plan because they would have known, like, oh, Thanos was trying to get Infinity Stones. Well, one of them's gone, one of them's still here. You would think that maybe they'd be like, well, let's keep an eye on the two that are here because technically there are two stones. Let's keep an eye on the two
Hmm.
stones that are here. Nope, they're fucking off farming and shit. What? Like, and again, like the biggest thing, like even if you could give them excuses for all of that, there is no excuse for them not showing up in Infinity War,
Hmm.
because Thanos
Yeah.
coming was like, we found out he was coming in 2012. He doesn't show up until 2018 or 2019. From 2012 to
Hmm.
2019, you had 7 years to understand what this motherfucker was doing. I guarantee you they knew, because when you go to, like, when the Guardians of the Galaxy are talking, they're like, oh yeah, we heard that Thanos was trying to collect the stones. Because remember, their first encounter was with Ronan
Hmm.
back in like 2014, and Ronan was like, yeah, Thanos is trying to collect all the stones. So he's been
Hmm.
doing it for a
Yeah.
while. Everybody in the galaxy
Gamora knew.
knows this. Just saying. 7 years to give no shits because it didn't affect them. It actually does affect them, because they knew what he wanted to do. They knew he wanted to wipe out half the power, half the life in the galaxy, all life that would have included them. So it did. That's why I said this is the one thing that they have no excuse for. All the other shit, you
Hmm.
can be like, well, yeah, that's just humans, whatever. Like, that's just a Chitauri. Okay, if humans lose
Hmm.
to the Chitauri, maybe it's like they know that the Chitauri is such a low class army that they're like, if humans lose to them, then maybe they deserve to lose their planet. Like, I can get that, you know? And even like Civil War, they wouldn't have given a shit about. Most of these movies, like most of the Avengers movies, I can be like, okay, okay, okay. But Infinity War, you bitches didn't show up in Infinity War. This was a classic come get your boy moment. So, anywho, same. Anywho.
Yeah. It was almost like that the moment from Avengers where Thor's like, he may be crazy, but he's my brother. It's like in Black Widow, like he killed dozens of people. He's adopted. Like they're like, oh, he's
He killed
just
80
happy.
people in 3 days. He's adopted. And yes, I do have those lines memorized. So,
Like
so
that's when you knew that Chris Hemsworth was an amazing comedian, because the timing there was impeccable.
yes.
It's just he's adopted.
And
That's
yet
still one of
lots
my
of it
favorite
else
lines in
on
that
Marvel, DC, tons other. What are you talking about, Sonia? Who's he?
movie. Mhm.
I just see Sonia saying he's got lots, but who's the he? Is there a comment I missed? Am
Yeah.
I still missing comments? Am I now missing comments from YouTube? Is my world being destroyed right now? He just has some psych issues. Just get him a shrink. 80 people ain't that bad on the larger scale of things. I mean, you know, as far as Loki's concerned, like, he was done wrong. Okay, so we got to talk about Loki. We're gonna rewind for a minute
Mhm.
in Infinity War. We're gonna touch on the Loki scene.
Yeah. Because Loki's coming soon. Yeah.
Loki isn't dead. Here's my thought
You
on
don't think
that.
Loki's dead
Okay, what?
there? Okay. You don't think Loki died in Infinity War?
No, because let's break it down. Okay, he's talking now. We see classic Loki in the beginning when Thor is on the ground and Thanos reaches down, picks him up by his head. And by the way, like, how tiny is Thor compared to Thanos? That's how massive Thanos is. He literally picks up
Yeah.
Thor by his head with one hand, like a little claw, like this, and he's just like, his whole head is right there, and you're like, oh shit. Um, oh, Renegade cut. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I missed the Renegade cut. I just
I
saw
like
you
Ren.
talking about him. Yeah, I've seen him on YouTube. Um,
He's good.
so he's, Thanos has Thor by the claw, or by the hand, and Loki is like taunting him. He's like, go ahead, I don't give a shit.
Mhm.
He's my adopted brother. Fucking kill him. That's Loki,
Mhm.
right? That's actually Loki. And then when Thanos was like, okay, and he starts doing it, and he's like, oh, okay, 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 stop. And then you see him say, he does the whole spiel of like, the sun will shine on us again, and he produces the Tesseract, and he says the sun will shine on us again, and he puts it up to Thanos, and then he says, and we have a Hulk. And then he
Mhm.
rushes off, like he bum rushes Thor basically, and rolls him away out of the scene. And then you see the whole Hulk versus Thanos fight. And
Mhm.
Thanos like toys with Hulk for a minute and lets him think he can get, lets him think like, "Hey, good job there, buddy," and then he just wrecks him.
Right.
And then this whole
Yeah. Yeah.
time,
When the mall when he was saying like, oh no, just give him a second, like
yeah, just
he's
give him a second.
let him play for a moment. It's like when he said that, I was like, oh shit, oh shit, things are about to go down.
Yeah, and
It's
then
not that
oh
easy,
no,
Hulk.
you knew it was about to go down when Thanos was
Mhm.
like, let me get ready. Like let me he basically does the equivalent
Mhm.
of like taking off his earrings, like, okay, let's go. And you're like, oh, it's not going to end well. And there are
It's like, oh yeah,
people who
let
think
me let Hulk feel like he's doing something, but now it's like, all right, now you've pissed me off. Like, okay, you've had your fun. Bye bye.
there are
You're
people who
done.
think that Thanos was able to beat Hulk because he was using the Power Stone. He didn't use the Power Stone.
No.
He could have taken off the gauntlet. The fight would have gone the exact same way that it went, except it would have
Hmm.
hurt Hulk a little bit less because he didn't have the metal of the Infinity Gauntlet hitting him. But he never used the Power Stone against the Hulk. He didn't need to, and a lot of people don't
Yeah,
realize that.
he's that
Like,
powerful.
yeah, he's
And
huge.
that's how you
Remember,
could see
he can hold
yeah.
Thor's entire head in his hand, one hand, and Thor is a
Hmm.
lot bigger than most humans. And he's
Yeah.
just like,
Well,
oh, here's like a watermelon, or not
that's
even a
also,
watermelon, like an apple.
mhm. Yeah, it's almost crazy though when you think about like how powerful does that make Captain America or even Captain Marvel look when they can be like grabbing his hand and holding him back when I mean yeah, Hulk, he got a few licks in, but Thanos just was like swatting him away. Like, okay, so how exactly was Captain America able to hold him back, even only for a few seconds? And then Captain Marvel too was
Yeah.
how overpowered is she exactly?
And see, that's accurate. She could do that, but she couldn't beat
Mm-hmm.
him. With Captain America,
Mm-hmm.
he had the advantage of it's just like the scene at the end of Avengers when Hulk went to bum rush Loki, and then Loki was like,
Mm-hmm.
enough. And he does the whole speech like, I'm a god, you twits, and that whole thing. And then Hulk just kind of watches him for a second, like, huh. And then he just grabs him
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, bam, bam, bam. And he's like, puny god.
Puny God.
It's like that
Also one of the best
because
lines in the movie.
Thanos was getting ready to I think he was getting ready to use the stone, and then Steve runs up and grabs his hand and he's looking at him, and you can see
Mm-hmm.
that moment, and you see like the reflection on Thanos' face because he's looking at him like, really? Like, wow, like first of
Mm-hmm.
all, hey, props to you for being strong enough to actually grab my hand. Um it's interesting because I'm gonna kill you, but hey, cool. So I think the reason he was able to hold it
Mm-hmm.
for so long is because he didn't actually do anything. Like Thanos stopped for a moment and was just like marveling at the
Mm-hmm.
fact that this what seems like normal human was able to grab him and do anything. And he was like, "Huh,
Mm-hmm.
interesting. Okay, now you die." And then he killed him. That's another thing. A lot of people have pointed out Steve actually died then because Thanos ended him. The reason why Steve is still alive is because Thanos later used the Time Stone, which brought everybody back. Like the people he had just killed, they came back when he used the time stone to reverse time. But I'm not sure if that theory works simply because when
I
he
don't
used
think
the time
I don't think
stone,
it does either
yeah, because when he used the time stone to
because he
reverse
killed
time, he
Vision
didn't go back
after.
far enough to revive Steve
Exactly.
because he just went back far enough to reform um the Infinity Stone.
Vision. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's now I'm thinking of WandaVision again. And okay, go back, go to your happy place. Okay, because now every time I think of that moment when he redoes it, and then Vision gets the Mind Stone back, and it's like she just had to kill him, and she's all pissed off, but she's not really pissed. She's more grief stricken, and then he's just like, I'm just gonna take my giant fingers and rip it out, and you see this big dent in Vision's forehead, and then he turns completely white, and then just like pass or gray and passes out, and then she's like, no. And then Thanos is like dead, or
Mhm.
he doesn't kill her, but he knocks her out. And then after she comes to after all that, and she's grieving Vision's death, she's immediately snapped away, and I'm just like, there's
Mhm.
no justice.
Right.
None. Anywho,
Especially considering she then has to wake up or come back 5 years later and Vision's body is
it's
gone.
gone. Yeah.
She got like this much time to actually grieve his death. Like all of a sudden it's
Mhm.
just gone, comes back, he's gone. He's
So she
nowhere to be seen because
rushed him
it's now
three
5 years later.
times in a matter of moments to
Mm-hmm.
her. Because the first time
Mm-hmm.
she had to kill him when she took the stone
Mm-hmm.
away. The second time was when Thanos took the stone away and killed him. And then the third time was when she came back from being snapped and his body was gone. So
Mm-hmm.
she lost him three times.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ace was like, first of all, how did he grab
Mm-hmm.
that without taking a larger hunk? Let's be real. His finger's too damn big for that shit. Mm-hmm. Hashtag fact. Um, I'm old and will tell you younguns about TV shows you all have memorized. How old are you, Sonia? Are we the same age? Are you older than me? I don't know. I can't see your picture. Anywho, um, yeah. So, okay. So here, my Loki theory. The reason why I think Loki is still alive in Infinity War. So before we even get to Endgame, the
Mm-hmm.
reason why Loki's still alive in Infinity War is because Loki grabs Thor and they roll off screen. Right? They're not on
Mm-hmm.
camera for a while. And Thanos and Hulk have their little fight, and then Thor rushes in because at that time Maul picks up the Tesseract and kneels down and hands it to Thanos. Then Thanos grabs it, crushes it. Thor bum rushes to try to stop it. Maul like instantly deals with Thor, which also it reminds me of something about the Odin family. All of them know magic except for Thor. And in this moment, if Thor had known magic, it could have possibly saved the galaxy. Because Thor is essentially Superman in this situation where he is extremely vulnerable to magic. He doesn't know how to use it. Like the only way he uses it is he wields it like with Mjolnir. And they literally gave him Mjolnir because they were like, well, you're half a moron. We don't want you to hurt anybody. So just swing this hammer and then channel all your potential through the hammer. Because we're afraid if we
Mm-hmm.
just like let you know, hey, you can do thunder and lightning, you'll electrocute like half of everybody. So just channel it through this hammer for 1,500 years while your dumbass figures it out. Let's be real.
Right.
Like that's what they did, okay? Because Loki had magic from the gate, Frigga had magic from the gate, Odin had magic.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody except for Thor. Even Hela, when she shows up, she's like, "Yo, what up? I have magic too, bitch." Oh, you thought Mjolnir was gonna
Mm-hmm.
stop me? I used Mjolnir as literally as a hammer because I have all kinds of shit that Mjolnir can't do. And then he was like, "Oh shit,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, sister's stronger than you." Which, by the way, in the comics and in Norse mythology, she is not Thor's sister. She is not Loki's sister. She is Loki's daughter.
Yeah.
So it's Fenrir. Um, anyway, Vancor says if the sword guy hadn't made her watch Vision being dissected, WandaVision wouldn't have happened. He could have just put him on a table in one piece and everything would have been fine. We'll get to that when we get to WandaVision. We'll do WandaVision
As
right after this because they kind
I
of go
don't.
together.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree. But yeah, when we get to
Um,
WandaVision, we'll talk about
I don't. So I think he did manipulate her, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that in
that.
WandaVision.
Yeah.
Um,
Leroy wants to know: isn't Mjolnir magic?
yes. Well, okay. Yes and no.
Yeah.
Mjolnir was imbued with magic by Odin in the MCU to make it so that only Thor can lift it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's imbued with magic, but Mjolnir in and of itself is not magic. Mjolnir is the tool with
It's
which
just a vessel. Yeah.
Thor controls his powers. So the powers he has are
Yeah.
the powers of Thor. So if anybody
Mm-hmm.
can wield Mjolnir, as you see in Endgame, whosoever can wield Mjolnir has the powers of Thor. Thor
Yeah,
has those powers.
it's kind of the same as like a wand in Harry Potter. Like a wizard or a witch, they still have magic even if they don't have a wand. A wand just helps them channel that magic in a certain direction. It helps
Yes.
them to. So Mjolnir is kind of the same way, is that he's able to funnel his power through Mjolnir and channel it in a certain direction and
Yes.
put all of his power into it that way.
Yeah, like I said, they were like, here, focus your power through the hammer so you don't blow everybody up.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Because as you saw, okay, we have to kind of go back to Thor Ragnarok for this discussion. So we'll pause on the Loki
Yeah.
part. We'll go to Thor Ragnarok. In Thor Ragnarok, his father, his now dead father, comes to him in visions and is essentially guiding him through all of the transitions that he's going through, because he's having to deal with a lot. And one of those visions, he basically explains the power of Thor was never in the hammer. The hammer was the training wheels we gave you so that you could channel it because you're half a fucking moron and we didn't want you blowing shit up. Seriously, you guys think I'm kidding, but I'm not. There's a reason they did not teach him magic. Because, like, let's face it, he was
He's a stubborn motherfucker.
What?
He's a stubborn motherfucker.
And he's reckless as shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you remember how he was in the first movie? Like, before he met Jane and did the whole humbling process, he was just like, oh, let's just kill everything. And he threw his hammer at it. Every single thing. His solution was to throw his hammer at it. And let's face it, Ragnarok was his Spider-Man movie. It was his, if you're nothing without the hammer, you don't deserve it. So he had to learn how to control his powers without the hammer. Correction.
But then once Infinity War comes around.
What?
Yeah. But then, of course, once Infinity War comes around, he's like, okay, I need something in order to channel all my power through. So I need to go to, what is the name of the planet? I can, like,
Nidavellir. I don't think that he necessarily needed to. So when he went to Nidavellir, he wasn't trying to channel his power into it. Because he had his power and he couldn't defeat Thanos. What he needed was a weapon that could defeat Thanos. And the only people in the galaxy that could wield such a weapon were the dwarves of Nidavellir. Ooh, Norse mythologists just like got up my shit right there. Because I accidentally said elves, and elves are from Alfheim and Svartalheim, and the dwarves are from Nidavellir, and the dwarves and the elves are not friends. Like, see any Lord of the Rings thing or Norse mythology. So anyway, I apologize to the Norse gods.
Elves is Thor Dark World.
What?
Elves was Thor Dark World. Get it right. Hello.
No, I'm talking actual Norse mythology, not MCU. In actual Norse mythology,
yeah, but what's his name? The Dark Elf. He was in
the Dark Elves were in Thor: The Dark World. Yeah. But what I was talking about is like actual Norse mythology, the elves and the so there are dark elves, but there are like the light elves, which look more like Lord of the Rings elves with like the blonde and the light coming from them and shit. They are there's like, I think it's Alfheim and Svartalheim. That's where the elves live. And elves hate dwarves. Which is why in Lord of the Rings, the two of them were like, can we even work together? Because elves and dwarves hate each other. So that's why I was like, So I was talking like actual Norse mythology, not MCU. But yeah. So anyway. MCU never really got the elves and the dwarves together. But I do love how in the MCU, the dwarves are giant. Because like Eitri is huge as opposed to being like really small. So I love that. So back to the whole Loki theory. So my Loki theory is like when Thor rushes in after Thanos defeats the Hulk and he's getting ready to get to take the stone out of the Tesseract. Loki is still off screen. We have not seen Loki for like 3 minutes. And then, right when it looks like Thanos is about to leave and just leave them to, because he's basically defeated them, there's nothing left. Like, he could just fuck off and go to his next mission,
Mm-hmm.
and who cares, right? So, right when he's about to leave, Loki makes his presence known, and everything he does and says is not Loki. It doesn't make sense. It's completely out of character. Like, for one, Loki is very good at getting away and hiding. And, like, he'll find a portal to get the fuck out of there if his life is threatened, right? He just got away from Thanos. He managed to save his brother. He got away from Thanos. Why the fuck would he come back? He would stay hidden in the ship until Thanos fucks off. And then he would go wherever Thanos isn't. He would stay the hell away from him. That's Loki's character. That's Loki's character for the last 4 movies that we've seen him in. And now all of a sudden Loki is challenging Thanos and he's brandishing a sword and he's gonna kill him. Why? That's not Loki. That's not any iteration of Loki that we've ever seen. He wouldn't challenge Thanos head on like that. If anything, if he wanted to kill Thanos, he would have sent somebody else after him. He would have created an army and sent that after him. But most likely he would have just been like, oh, okay, I got away. Whew, cool. And he would have fucked off. Why did he come back?
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing that I think. Remember in Thor the Dark World when he faked his own death?
Mm-hmm.
And he did it in a manner where it looked like he got run through with a blade.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was laying there decomposing, and Thor actually had a body to physically hold. And he thinks that he's holding his dead brother, right? But his brother's actually alive, and he's very alive and well. Not run through or anything. He's chilling, right? I think that's what Loki did at the end, in the beginning of Infinity War. I don't think that's actually Loki that walked up. I think he gave himself a pass some kind of way and was like, let me let everybody think I'm dead so I can chill in the back and nobody will ever come for me. Because what's the best way to get out of being murdered is to make somebody think they succeeded. Just like we saw, that tactic is in the MCU in Captain America Winter Soldier. We saw that happen. That's what Nick Fury does. When the Winter Soldier killed him, he let everybody think that he was killed, and then he comes back at the end. I think Loki's alive.
Mm-hmm.
Ace just said Loki is the god of mischief. Yeah. He's brilliant, cunning, strategic, deceptive, manipulative, and very ninja-like, to put it childishly. He's alive! That's all I'm saying. Go ahead.
And J7 disagrees with you. He says new Loki is shown his death from Mobius, and Mobius was the reason why he was trusted to do good. So that's kind of about the show.
Wait, hold on.
I guess in the show he's going to be shown his death.
Oh, the Loki show. For a second there, I straight up thought he crossed over into DC and went with the Mobius chair. And I'm like, did you just mention the chair that Batman sat on? Like, what? Are you crossing DC? Okay. But you're talking about the show. I haven't seen trailers for the show. I haven't seen the show. I don't see the shows until I see the shows. Y'all know that the trailers give away everything. You may not know that they gave it away, but as soon as you start watching it, you're like, that scene hasn't happened yet. That's going to be in the finale. And then everything's ruined. Perfect example in WandaVision. What is this? Again, I watched WandaVision, then I watched the trailers. What's in the trailer? You see Wanda standing up and flying straight in the air in regular clothes. And you see Vision flying at, when you watch the episode, you learn that Vision is flying at Vision. But you just see Vision flying, and he's it's in the neighborhood, but it's daylight, and he's just randomly flying. And throughout the show, we don't really see Vision fly, but the final episode, those scenes happen. And then there's also a scene where Wanda and Vision are standing there looking outside, and you can't tell what they're looking at, but you just see the two of them looking at each other. That's literally the end of the show. They have all of that shit in the trailers. I don't watch the trailers. So stop telling me shit about the trailer. I don't watch that shit. I'm just going to watch the show. Anywho. Yeah, Ace said the same thing. Loki's show is so anticipated that she absolutely refuses to watch the trailers. Me también. Okay,
Fair
so
enough.
back to Infinity War. Okay.
Mhm.
Mobius chair. Okay. Where were we in the story? They had rescued Thor. Um,
Mhm.
so they had just rescued Thor, and
And
they were
then
gonna
they
go
were
to
all deciding to go
nowhere.
their separate way. They were going to go to nowhere, and Thor, Groot, and Rocket were going to go to Nimbler, and the rest of them were going to go to nowhere in order to stop him from getting the Reality Stone.
Yes. Okay. Slight nerd moment. Hi, Casey. Thank you for laughing at us. Probably me. Um, so there is a comic where Deadpool is in space. For some reason, he has lightsabers. Okay. Um, and
Slight, slight
he
nerd moment. Slight.
yeah. So he's in space. Deadpool's in space with lightsabers, and he's asking where to find the ultimate nullifier, and everybody keeps telling him nowhere, and he thinks they're lying. He thinks they're saying like, "I'm not going to tell you," because he doesn't know that nowhere is a place. So he's just mowing bitches down. He is killing so many people because he's like, "Where do I find the ultimate nullifier?" And everybody says nowhere. And then finally, it was Hydra Bob that was like, "No, you idiot! Nowhere is a place. It's a celestial's head." And he was like, "Oh, why didn't everybody tell me that?" Okay, sorry.
No worries.
Back yet again.
Yes. Yeah, so they're on that mission, and then it's when they're in nowhere, and actually on their way to nowhere, that Gamora is like, "Hey, something's going. I know information, and if Thanos gets me, you need to kill me because if he gets his hands on me, then shit, it's over. Like, there's no going back from that." So they're on their way to nowhere, and I still love that part two where Drax is like, "I'm invisible. You can't see me. I'm just sitting here slowly eating chips." It's like, dude, we
Oh,
can
the
all see
memes that came from that.
you. Yeah, so they're going to nowhere, and then when they arrive, they see an image. They see what Thanos wants them to see, and that's of him, basically beating up the Collector, and then Gamora stabs him with the knife that he gave her when she was a child,
Mm-hmm.
when he kidnapped her from her home and killed half of her people. So she stabs him with that dagger, and because she cries over it, that's when he reveals, like, oh, I didn't think you would cry over my death, my daughter. And so then that's how he gets his hands on her. Basically, realities the shit out of Drax and Mantis to keep them out of the way, and then turns Star Lord's bullets into bubbles
Yes.
and gets away with Gamora.
There's one thing that the movie skipped that's actually quite tragic. At the beginning of this
Mm-hmm.
film, Thanos already has an Infinity Stone. And the Infinity Stone that
The
he
Power
has
Stone, yeah.
is the Power Stone, which the Guardians of the Galaxy had given to what's the name of the planet? The Nova Corps, but what's the name of their planet?
The Nova Corps, yeah.
Yeah. What's the name of the planet they're on?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody tell me. The
I don't
Nova Corps,
remember.
where is the planet?
Someone in the chat.
Yeah. Anywho, um, he had given it to the Nova Corps to safeguard, and Thanos decimated the Nova Corps. He actually, okay, I can't. Xandar, thank you, Ace.
Yeah, Xandar.
He gave it to Xandar for the Nova Corps to protect, and he did more than decimate because technically decimate means 10%, and he didn't take out 10% unless decimate means reduce to 10%, but I think it means destroy 10%. Anywho, he pretty much killed them all dead. Thank you, Vancor,
Mm.
as well. He murdered them all and he took it. And so I'm wondering if there
Yeah,
was a
that's another
survivor.
good word. Obliterated.
Yes,
Hmm.
obliterated. If there was a survivor, that survivor is probably going to end up being Nova, a character from the comics, because
Hmm.
there's no Nova Corps anymore. Oh
Hmm.
well. So yeah, he destroyed them. There's probably at least one survivor. It always happens, says Ace. Yeah, and that survivor will be Nova. Also, where the fuck is Adam Warlock? Like he's been incubating for a while now. What
Hmm.
the hell's going on with him?
I think, yeah, I think they're supposed to be bringing him in for number 3. So I've heard.
Anticlimactic, because he's already like okay. So they did this with Ant-Man, where they had Age of Ultron and then introduced Hank Pym, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Hank Pym is the one who created Ultron. And like it's so
Mhm.
significant in the comics that at one point literally Hank Pym and Ultron merge and become one being. But yeah, no, now it's Tony Stark. Okay, fuck it. So now what they're doing is they're like having the entire Infinity Saga, and then after that they're like, oh, now Adam Warlock, but he was integral in the Infinity. Okay, whatever, fuck it. That's why I don't watch shit. Like, I don't
Mhm.
watch trailers because you, even though you've read the comics, you have no idea what they're doing or how they're going to do it. For example, the Infinity Saga began at the end of Endgame, or sorry, at the end of Infinity War. It began with Thanos snapping, and everybody was just like, half of everybody's gone. What the fuck? And I kind of would have wanted to see that because we only really got like a moment of it, and at the very end of Infinity War, when everybody just started like when we see, it's actually the post credit scene when we see like helicopters crashing because like the pilot just got dusted, and I think it's interesting that everybody didn't disappear at the same time. There was like a time scale with it because as you saw, like people in helicopters were disappearing, but Maria Hill and Nick Fury were still there, and he had time to go grab the thing and call Captain Marvel, and then he got dusted. So everybody didn't get dusted instantaneously. Like it took some time. Another perfect example on Titan, the Guardians that were there that got snapped, they and Doctor Strange disappeared, and then Peter says, "I don't feel so good." So
Mhm.
there is like a time delay with some of these. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all strategically got dusted randomly, but what's the logic behind how it worked? Great question, Ace. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Just like where's the original Loki? Because that wasn't Loki. Nobody knows. Anywho, continuing on. Doesn't it feel
Yeah.
great to
So
like be the
uh,
co-host where like you have to wrangle in my madness? It's like herding cats.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Like, well, I don't even wrangle in your madness. I'm just like, okay, go.
You just let it go. You're like, it'll be fun. Let's see what she says. Okay.
I am interested in to see where this goes. Yeah.
I
So,
always won't listen to Ace, whatever you do.
but now we're but now I guess we can talk about the moment where they're on Vormir and see that planet I know. So
Yeah.
they're on Vormir and Thanos. They're going up the mountain. They find Red Skull, which I still don't quite understand. How the hell is Red Skull? How did he go through the time portal and end up on Vormir? I don't get how that worked.
He didn't go through a time
But
portal. So the last time we saw Red
okay.
Skull was in Captain America the First Avenger. He grabs the Tesseract
Mm-hmm.
by hand. In so doing,
Mm-hmm.
he accidentally activates it. Remember, the Tesseract in and of itself it's the space stone. So that's how Loki was
Mm-hmm.
able to get to Earth in Avengers, and then they activated it to open up the portal to allow the Chitauri to come in. The Tesseract, and then in
Mm-hmm.
Endgame, Loki grabs it, activates it, and uses it to go to another part of space. When Red Skull
Mm-hmm.
grabbed it, the Tesseract enacted itself basically, and it like if you rewatch that scene, what happens to him? He doesn't die. What looks like is it pretty much looks like the Rainbow Bridge just comes. It starts in his hand, and then it shoots up, and then his whole body just disappears. So he
Mm-hmm.
was projected from one part of space to another part. The
Mm-hmm.
stone took him from Earth and put him on Vormir, and he's been there ever since.
Yeah.
That's how he got there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Ace
You know what's
said
kind of
Red
crazy to
Skull
think
himself.
about?
Huh?
You know what's kind of crazy to think about is that when it came to Loki in the first Avenger movie, when he showed up after he fell off he got transported somewhere and he ended up with Thanos. And Thanos sent Loki to Earth and gave him the staff. So
Mhm.
that means that Thanos had the Mind Stone already, and he
Yeah.
gave it to Loki. That's still kind of crazy. Like, why? Like you had an Infinity Stone and you gave it away,
Well, he
which is
gave
just
it
kind
to
of
him. It
crazy
was
to
like a
me.
temporary loan. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like this thinking. Like, if someone says, "Hey, you can end up a millionaire and be able to retire if you
Mhm.
invest $10,000." So you give the $10,000 so that you can get the all the money later. That's what he did. He was like,
Yeah.
"I'm gonna lend you the money," because he did the same thing in Guardians of the Galaxy. Remember, he lent the
Mhm. With
he let the
Ronan.
Power Stone. He was searching for the Power Stone, and um he was gonna let Ronan use the Power Stone to end Xandar, and then Ronan was supposed to give it back to him. So now he has it.
Hmm.
And it was the same thing that he
Yeah.
did with the Mind Stone. He gave the Mind Stone to Loki to go get the other stones that were on Earth and then bring all three of them back. And
Hmm.
what Loki got in return was to rule Earth. But the way he got to rule Earth was the
Hmm.
Chitauri would go down and basically conquer Earth, and then they would look at Loki as the Lord.
Hmm.
And so Loki would basically insert himself as Earth's dictator and then give up all the stones and be able to stay on Earth
Yeah.
as Earth's dictator. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
like, I'm going to lend this to you and you're going to give it back to me in order to bring me two more stones that were on Earth.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, also, so Ace was addressing the Red Skull. She said Red Skull himself explains to Thanos and Gamora why he was sent to Vormir instead of being able to wield it. The Space Stone cast him out and forced him to be the Guardian. He said, I even held one in my hand. Presumably, he meant the Space Stone. It cast him out and banished him to Vormir, guiding others to a treasure he cannot possess. Yes,
Hmm.
that's how he got there, and that's why he couldn't
Yeah.
leave. He was basically
Hmm.
tasked to be the Guardian. And so the real question about Red Skull is, after the space stone, or not space stone, sorry, after the soul stone was taken, is he now free to leave?
That's a good
Uh-huh.
question.
And so when Cap
Does
returns the
does
soul
Sam
stone,
Wilson does Sam Wilson eventually have to take on Red Skull? Hmm.
well, that's the question. Like, now that he's been to space for for like what, 80,
Hmm.
90 years, does he even care anymore about controlling
Right.
the Earth? He's like, I'm sure, like, he's had some introspection time because he's, like 90
Hmm.
years on Vormir, watching people go to their death trying to get the soul stone and being like, oh, another one didn't get it. and then he sees Thanos and Gamora, and then so that's got to be kind of a trip for him. He sees Thanos and Gamora, they get the soul stone, and then no, 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 no. He sees first. He has to see Black Widow, and he has to see Hawkeye and Black Widow, and then Black Widow dies. Hawkeye gets the Soul Stone, and then immediately Cap returns the Soul Stone, and then
Hmm.
he sees Gamora and
Hmm.
Thanos. So after Thanos gets the Soul Stone, he's now free. So
Hmm.
my question is, where does he go? Because I doubt he goes back to Earth. He's probably going to try to
That's a
find
good
someplace
question.
else in the galaxy.
That's an interesting question. Definitely.
Are there any
Yeah. So
comments on the
now
dark
we
side? I
can.
feel left out.
Okay. So let's see. Well, first, considering you disagreed with J7, he said, "How dare you?" And my phone just died.
I have a tendency to do that.
And my phone just died. Hold on.
No, 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 no.
Yeah, my phone just
Why are the
died.
comments being kept from me?
Sorry, Twitch stream. My phone just died.
It's like the
I'm
gods of
sorry,
streaming
guys.
have frowned upon me, and they're like, "You shall not read the Twitch comments. You shall not know." Fucking Gandalf with the
Yeah,
Twitch comments. You
yeah.
shall not.
I mean, thankfully, like there was only a couple after he said "How dare you," but
Okay.
let me bring it up on my computer.
Okay.
Hopefully, it doesn't mess up my stream too bad. Because I know I'm a little fuzzy right now, but it shouldn't be too bad.
Too many margaritas. Too much. Too much partying
Apparently, my
before
internet
school's
like
over.
apparently my well, I'm talking about my internet. Like I'm trying to get pixelated.
Oh yeah, that's what you meant.
Yeah, I'm a little fuzzy.
Sonia, mwahaha, we on YouTube have all the voice. Ooh.
Which is very true.
That is true. Well, and Haps. I can see Haps in YouTube. So
Yeah,
thank you to
only Twitch is
everybody
being
who
left out
is
here.
who come every week. Like it's awesome. You guys are cool, even if I can't read your comments in Twitch. Because we have a base. We have our own little group that comes here and chats Marvel movies with us and Star Wars. And one day it will be Star Trek. Not because Star Trek is awesome, but because our guest will be Brianna Joy Gray.
Yes, we will watch Star Trek just to have Brianna Joy Gray on the show. We're going to speak it out into the universe. We're going to go further than anyone's ever gone before.
Higher, faster,
We're
farther?
going to go
No, that's
where.
fucking wrong. Okay. I'm gonna talk. I'm random as shit. Okay, let's get back to Infinity War before I forget what I'm doing. Uh,
But basically, Brianna Joy Gray, come on the show. We'll talk.
yes,
We'll watch Star Trek just for you.
dude. She
Someone
followed
clip
me
this
on.
out and put it on.
She followed me
So
on Twitter. Did I tell you that?
no, you didn't.
She did. I
That's
was like, "Oh,
awesome.
I'm big time now." She followed me.
Lucky.
Yo, Jason. Okay, so Ace to Face is helping us. She has a different. I say different every single time. Get over it. She is helping us out by posting the Twitch chats in the Twitch comments in chat for me, so that I am until like her computer blows up or something. I don't know because the streaming gods are just trying not to keep me from understanding what's happening. Okay, so J7, you're not
Oh,
going to get
maybe
through chat
Shira.
discussions without the Twitch chat. What a loss for thou. We may have to make a
Yeah. And
sacrifice to
Sonia
the streaming
said,
god.
"Someday Shira." Like maybe you never know. I actually
You
grew up on
know,
Shira. Really loved. I really loved the Why can't I think of Masters
Master
of
of the
the
Universe.
Universe? I loved Masters
Man,
of the Universe
yeah.
growing up.
So
And
if
I
we're
know
gonna
there's a new
cover
Shira.
Shira, at one point we're gonna cover Jam and the Holograms because, like,
Oh my god.
what I liked growing up, Voltron. Anywho,
The movie doesn't exist, just so we all know. For
they made
Gem
a
and the
Voltron
Holograms,
movie.
the movie. No,
I
Gem and the
legit didn't know that
Holograms.
they actually made a Voltron movie.
They made a
Yeah.
Voltron movie.
Okay, so that's how old I am. Like, I just knew a Voltron as a cartoon. Like to me, cartoons were like it's Saturday morning cartoons that I would miss because I didn't wake up early enough because I'm nocturnal. Um, and so basically, I'd catch like the tail end of GI Joe, and I would literally just get the lesson at the end. I have no idea what happened in the episode. And people are like, "Oh, do you remember this character from GI Joe?" I'm like, "I remember, don't start a fire because you'll blow up the block." And like now knowing is half the battle. I just got like that in. That's all I got because I woke up too late on Saturdays. And there were times when I would be like, "Oh, I want to get up and watch cartoons," and then I'd wake up at noon again, and I never did. So the cartoons that I actually did see were the ones that were on at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That would play like Monday through Friday. Sundays sucked ass because there were no cartoons. Sundays were the worst days of the week. I'm just throwing it out there. Anywho, dropping all the classics. Thank you, Casey. um, Voltron was big enough to become a V ball move. a volleyball move? What? I don't even
Mhm.
know what that was. What's a Voltron
No idea.
volleyball? My sons didn't know there was a He-Man, Bionic Man, or Superman. How did your sons not know about Superman? I feel like anywhere on the planet, anybody ever in any era
Mhm.
since the 1940s know about Superman.
Right.
Like everybody knows about Superman. Like there are three characters that transcend borders: Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man. Those are the three most iconic characters in all of fiction, besides like the Bible.
Mhm.
But yeah, those are characters that like everybody knows of. J7
Mhm.
golf on Sundays. Yeah. No. No golf on Sundays because golf is boring as shit. I just agree with you, probably. PBS on Sundays. You know what Sundays
I'm
were
okay
for
with
me
PBS.
as a kid? Sundays were get up stupid early, get ready for church, have to sit down and
Mhm.
watch like paint dry or some shit. Hopefully there was a NASCAR race on because there was fuck all else on
Mhm.
TV. It was either that or watch like politics and you're like 4, you don't give a fuck and you don't even understand what they're saying anyway. So it was like maybe there'll be ice skating on or like a NASCAR race because those were the closest things to being anywhere. Like, yeah, because sarcasm doesn't translate in writing, Jay. Any
That's true.
those especially since we're getting this third hand. You're saying it on Twitch. I'm getting it delivered. There are people in between. Um, so um, yeah. Then after that, like you go to church, which was just like and my mom would always force me to wake up because I'm nocturnal and you're making me get up at 8 o'clock in the freaking morning and dressing me
Holy
up like
shit.
some freaking Russian doll and making me sit on the couch and not do anything. And I'm like, I hate this. Why am I not sleeping? I could have been asleep. You could have dressed my unalive body and just like put me there, propped my ass up, and then thrown me in there, and I could have awakened like halfway through the service or some shit. But no, you got to wake my ass up so that I can get a bath and all that shit. And now I'm sitting here and church is going on and the preacher's yelling some bullshit. I don't know. Cause again, I'm like 4 and I'm like, I don't fucking care. I just want to go back to sleep. And then I lean on my mom to try to go to sleep. And she gives you that nudge of like, wake your ass up. And I'm like, fine, you're just going to be mean. I'm going to lean on my sister. And then she just like moves so that you can like fall. Cause they're not nice. And then, it's like that was Sunday. And then afterwards, hopefully we can get to Popeyes. If not, like if you smell the oven, you were like, oh, fuck, we're going to have roast. And I liked my mom's pot roast, but I wanted Popeyes. And that's what it was like for me growing up. That's what Sundays were. And then afterwards, it was like, can I go out and play? No, because by the time black churches get out, the sun is gone. Okay? There's no more sun outside by the time, because when you come home, you got to change out of your nice dress into your just everyday plebe clothes. And by the time you do that, it's time to eat Popeyes or pot roast, whichever one you having for that week. And then when you're done with that, your mom is like, go do your homework. And you're like, man, fuck Sundays. And after that, you got to go to bed because now it's like 9 o'clock at night or some shit. Anyway, you be at church all damn day and night. It's tiring and kills a child's soul. Ace gets it. Ace gets it. She feels me. Okay. All you have time for after that is either pot roast or Popeyes, homework, and then you got to go to bed. And then you wake
Right.
up and it's like, fuck, now I have to go to school. Sunday sucked. Anywho. So, yes. Until you're old enough to drive yourself. And then you were like, I get it. I'm going to wake up for the late one. I'm going to go to the white people's church. So it's only 2 hours. I'm going to get out of there. I'm going to drive, pull up. I'm going to be the last person on the lot. I'm going to pull up when the choir leaves to the last service. Choir leaves. I'm going to pull up right in their spots, right in the front. I'm going to pop in. I'm only one person, so I can sneak in the back. I'm going to sneak in the back so I don't have to go to the overflow section, which is like 4 churches over or some shit. I'm going to sit there. I'm going to pull in. Like by the time you get in, because the choir is gone, you don't have to have your ears blasted out because of the loud ass choir music. You don't have to hear all the announcements and boring shit you don't really give a fuck about. And you just get the service and you're like, that was cool. And they're like, let's pray. I'm a bounce. Y'all, you good? All right, cool. I'm going to my friend's house where I can go take a nap. That was me as a teenager. So you just got an insight into my life. Anywho, uh, we have like 6 minutes left. And I just went on a rant about Sundays.
And next week you'll hear all about my Sunday school and being in church choir and everything when I was growing up, the Catholic church. Look forward to it.
Yeah, one day you'll get that in. Sonia says, remember the PBS news anchor that was DW's favorite childhood character, but was canceled because she didn't want to do kid stuff. At the end, she did the voice just for DW, so then DW would watch the news. Who's DW?
The only DW I know is from Arthur.
Yeah, I'm lost on that one because I don't know who DW
Yeah.
is. Um,
I don't understand how they have history, know about Red Skull in history, not react to him in Endgame. Like Hawkeye and Nat are just chilling beside the war criminal like it's nothing. That's a good point.
that is a good point, but here's the thing: was he known as Red Skull? Because
That's a
the
good.
only like if you go back and you rewatch Captain America: The First Avenger, he was Johann Schmidt the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
He always had a public face of Johann Schmidt, the actual human face. He was Red Skull only at the very end. Like the
Mm-hmm.
only people who saw him being Red Skull, aside from Zola, were Steve and Bucky. And then
Mm-hmm.
at this point, Bucky's dead. So Steve and Bucky would know who he is, but Nat might not have known. Nat and Clint may not have known he was Red Skull. They would have known Johann Schmidt, and he didn't look like Johann Schmidt, so they probably had no idea who he was. Um, J7 asked, "Did you live my life too, Meg?"
Are we talking about Catholic Church?
Probably, yeah.
Catholic Church, Sunday school. Glory be.
Yeah, I don't know if Meg lived your life, but I know a lot of black people watching were like, "Yeah!" when I was mentioning. DW was Arthur's
Yeah,
little
Arthur.
sister.
So sorry, it was Arthur.
Okay. I had kids after you all got too old, so my TV is before/after you all. Yeah. Yeah, and Jay was talking about the Catholic Church. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have like a couple minutes. Let's recap Infinity War. There's nothing really political about Infinity War that I can think of because all I can think of is like Wanda, Vision, and Cap and Bucky. Oh, we have to talk about Cap and Bucky. There, let's just get to Cap and Bucky. Let's skip
Yeah.
to the end. Princess Bride, people know exactly what that was from. Okay, so at this point, so when we last saw Bucky, which we kind of touched on a little bit in the last episode, Bucky chose to be, he was in Wakanda and he chose to be refrozen because he didn't want to be able to be activated again the way that that Zemo was able to activate him. So when we see him now, and sorry, actually, I take that back. The last time we saw him was at the end of Black Panther because we skipped Black Panther. After in the end credit scene for a post credit scene for Black Panther, you see Bucky wake up and there are these little kids right in front of him, like right over his head, and they're like playing with him and everything. And then he gets up and he walks out and he's completely missing his left arm. And T'Challa, King of Wakanda, walks up to him and says, sorry, actually, I'm skipping ahead to Infinity War. Okay, so he wakes up and he's missing his arm, and he goes out and he looks at the beautiful countryside, and Shuri walks up and talks to him, and is like, you cool, like basically letting us know he's cool now. She managed to get that shit out of his head, so now he doesn't have to worry about. He's no longer frozen. Wakanda fixed him. Now in Infinity War, he's outside, like, being a farmer in Wakanda, living peacefully. And then T'Challa walks up with a suitcase, or with this big case, and he opens it up, and it's an arm. And Bucky just looks at it, and he's like, "Where's the fight?" And it's like, "No, Bucky! He was living a peaceful life. He was finally moving on. He had come to terms, and he was being peaceful with all the black people. And now he's got to go fight again." Damn. She wanted a man to have peace. Yes, I did. Is it too much to ask? Anywho.
Yeah, so very briefly, yeah, I think J7 is definitely right where he says maybe not necessarily global warming, but definitely the idea of population control, which is also a conversation that is being had related to climate change. And like, oh, we have to cut down the population in order to have enough resources, which I don't agree with. But that's definitely what the argument was of Thanos, that there are limited resources for such a number of people, and that he had that experience on Titan, and because they didn't go through with his plan had died. Which, again, I don't agree with that, but that's definitely related. And I do think that the other thing that really the feminism was the comparisons of Gamora and Black Widow, and the fact that one of them was sacrificed to advance a man's storyline, whereas the woman, Black Widow, sacrificed herself for the betterment of mankind. So that's definitely a big difference there.
Yes, sacrifice with daddy issues. Indeed, daddy issues will get you every time. I don't have daddy issues. I have mommy issues. That's when people become serial killers. Okay, so thank you to everybody for joining us. This was awesome. Endgame may need to be 2 because we barely got through Infinity War, and I was like simping all over the place, and Endgame's was going to be worse because
True story.
Mjolnir, and it's just, okay. You totally have to take over that one. So anyway, Killjoy Meg, tell people where they can find you.
So you can find me here each Monday with Jackie doing Nerdolitics. You can find me on Twitter at KilljoyMeg. And you can now also follow me on my other Twitter account for my upcoming podcast, The Killjoy Guide. So find that at The Killjoy Pod. And I'll stay there for updates on when that pod is coming.
Can't wait. Sounds awesome. All right. You can find me at either cinematicadventurespodcast.com or you can go to fredhamptonleftist.com. Either one. I'm there both. You can also find us at Fred Hampton Left on Twitter and all kinds of fun stuff. We'll be back next week. Next week, we're going to talk Infinity War, or she's going to talk Infinity War. I'm going to simp over Chris Evans. I'll talk to you guys later.